Yo, what's poppin', pimps? I'm here in the movie room. We're doing Quentin Tarantino movies ranked. All right. Now, I'm doing this video. It's after dark that I'm doing this video. We're doing late night here on the YouTube channel. My wife is asleep. The baby's asleep. That means it's time for me to talk about movies, right? I'm gonna be ranking the Quentin Tarantino movies on this channel. It's a video I've been wanting to do for a while. I really like to rank movies in my mind, like in terms of filmmakers, oh, what's my favorite top 10, so and so movies: Scorsese, Kevin Smith, Quentin Tarantino, David Lynch. Those are some of my favorite filmmakers of all time. So mentally, I kind of like to rank their movies in my brain. I don't know if you guys do that too. Probably. Yeah. I mean, if you're watching this channel, that means you're a movie nerd like I am. So yeah, let's jump right into it, shall we? Number 10. Well, let me specify. Actually, I'm getting way too ahead of myself. I'm so excited. We're talking about Quentin Tarantino. That's my favorite filmmaker. Pretty easily, I think that's my favorite filmmaker of all time. Not to sound like a total film school nerd, but I too have a poster of Pulp Fiction when I was a teenager, and I love Quentin Tarantino. So, anyways, I love all of his movies like they're my own children. Every movie that he's made as a director is pretty close to flawless. We'll get into some of the movies in the bottom tier of the list that aren't quite as flawless maybe, but this is just my opinion. I would love to know your guys' rankings in the comments below. But yeah, without further bullshit from your boy, let's check out number 10, and that's going to be Grindhouse. Now, I don't consider the extended proof of Death Cut, what the fuck? The extended cut of Death Proof. I don't consider that to be the definitive cut. I actually think that's the way weaker version of the movie, because it goes on way too long and the dialogue just kind of goes nowhere. With this edition, it's part of a 3-hour experience, so it's edited into a really tight hour and 20 minutes. So it doesn't kind of go off the rails with all the dialogue where you're just like, oh fuck me, can we see some car shit, and I mean, he's my favorite filmmaker, so of course I love Quentin Tarantino's dialogue, but in this movie in particular, with his segment Death Proof, it just gets to be a bit much. But the 80-minute cut is way better. It takes out a lot of the unnecessary dialogue, moves the plot along a lot faster, a lot better edited. So that's my number 10 pick. I think it's his most flawed, right? And then next to that, I know this is a lot of people's favorite Quentin Tarantino movie, but I actually think Django Unchained is his second weakest. I love Django Unchained. I think it's got some really kick-ass action sequences, but I do think that this movie was made right after his editor Sally Mankey passed, and I do think that this movie suffers from she was really a great editor for Quentin Tarantino because she was kind of the hand that would pull him back and stop him from just going full on buck wild. And so this movie gets a little full on buck wild. And some of its soundtrack choices are a little wonky. They don't quite fit. Some of the action sequences and some of the comedy sequences, even, they go on a little bit long, or maybe the joke was good. They told the joke and then maybe it kind of lingers on it too long. I'm speaking in particular that scene with Jonah Hill as one of the Klansmen. I think it's a great scene, but I think the comedic timing of that edit is off, and it makes the scene not as funny, because if it was a little bit quicker cut and maybe they got the joke in and out a little bit sooner, I think it would have been a better, tighter scene. But that being said, this movie kicks ass. It's an incredible Western, an incredible revenge story, only Quentin Tarantino can deliver. This is the nice Target Steelbook edition that I got way back in the day. I got this day it came out. I love that movie, just one of his more flawed ones. Next we got, this is number 7, Kill Bill Volume 2. Now I consider Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 different movies. I mean, if you, play them together, they're the same. It's one big movie, but each movie's kind of different, so I consider it 2 movies. But Volume 2 is really good, really dives into the backstory of the bride, kind of has a spaghetti western feel to it, but it just doesn't quite hit the heights of the first Kill Bill for me. The first Kill Bill is it gets all the crazy action and revenge sequences out of the way, and then this one's where it really dives into the character and all that kind of stuff, and I like all that stuff. It's really, really good. It's a great movie, one of the best movies ever made. It's a Quentin Tarantino movie, of course, but just on the grand scheme, of his movies. I do put it towards the bottom of my list just because it doesn't have as much rewatch as like, Kill Bill Volume 1 does for me and stuff like that. Um, but great movie. I mean, I love Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. But I just think that Kill Bill Volume 2 could have, I don't know, maybe used a little bit more kind of as comedic fight sequence, comedic sequences and fight sequences that he had going in Volume 1 to kind of make it feel like a little bit more similar. But I don't know, it's still a great movie. Like, I'm not disrespecting it in any way. I would never. It's my baby. um, but then we got his first major motion picture, Reservoir Dogs. This is where it all started for you, boy. This movie is a classic in every sense of the word. The only reason I put this on the lower half of the list is because this is Quentin Tarantino. He's just getting ready, boy. Like, this is Quentin Tarantino gearing up to make some of the best movies you've ever fucking seen in your life. And it's got a lot of great sequences. It's just, this is the calm before the storm, So this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I've watched this movie so many times. I can endlessly quote the whole beginning diner scene where they're talking about Madonna's like a virgin and tipping and all that kind of stuff. Like, I love this movie. It's pretty close to flawless for me. It just it's not fully, Tarantino like just fucking going for it, Not quite there yet, but really, really good movie. Next we got Kill Bill Volume 1. I love this movie. The only thing is I'm not super into anime. So the anime sequences, I think there's only one or two in this movie. They don't do it for me necessarily, but that being said, I think it's really cool that he has like experimental stuff like that in this movie. So I would, if I was editing this movie, like I wouldn't take that stuff out. It's just not tailored to my taste. But that being said, this is one of the most fun Quentin Tarantino movies to watch. It's just outright wild. The sequences, the action sequences, the set pieces are amazing. I got it in a cool like yellow case. Actually, there was a movie at the dollar store called The Hero of Color City, and it was a dumbass little kids movie. But I bought it, right, so I could have a yellow case for Kill Bill. And Kill Bill Volume 2 doesn't come with a red case, but I think I stole that from like Mad Max or Terminator or something like that when they were releasing those. So I kind of, if you haven't watched this channel before, I kind of custom make my own special editions of movies, if I can, especially movies that I really love. I like to kind of make my own, uh, custom editions that only I own something like that. Unless, motherfuckers out in the community try to copy me. If I see any of you with red and yellow Kill Bill jewel cases, not jewel cases, CDs, both, the red and yellow cases, I'll cut you. I might have to do it. But anyways, Hateful Eight is my next one. Hateful Eight is a great movie. This is basically the Western equivalent of Reservoir Dogs, in my opinion. So it's kind of like he remade Reservoir Dogs, but as a Western. Different plot and stuff like that, but the same vibe. People in a room looking shady at each other, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. Great movie, great dialogue, some great humor, and some crazy violent scenes. This is kind of like, we're getting into the territory. We're getting into top 5 territory, boy. So this is where it's getting really primo. This is prime cut right here. Prime Tarantino cut. Saw that movie. Saw the Roadshow edition when it came out in theaters. Opening day. I saw it. I saw that and Star Wars The Force Awakens in the same day. Dude, look at how thin my hair's getting on top. That's, oh my god, that's so bad. That's disturbing. Anyways, I didn't realize it was that bad until I saw it on the camera. Dude, I'm getting fucking old. It's happening. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Don't worry about all that. Again, with my custom editions, I got a little gold case version of Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown is a lot lower on other people's lists, I feel like. But I think it's one of his better ones. I love just the kind of hangout nature and talking. And this movie's primarily dialogue driven. It does have, a few kind of action scenes per se. I wouldn't really call them action scenes, but, like some, where shit's going down, But overall, this is probably his most calm movie. And I really like it for that. It's a good hangout movie. I love the dialogue. I love the characters. I love the humor. It's in it. De Niro is so good. I wish there was more De Niro in Quentin Tarantino movies because Robert De Niro does such a good job. But that's a really, really good one. Like, I think that one's pretty underrated, if anything. Then we got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This is his newest movie. Dude, I fucking love this movie. Like, I almost put it higher. I almost kind of put it at like number 2, number 1, but it's just, got a couple other ones, and you probably know what they are, that I like a little bit better, but This movie, every time I watch it, I've watched this. Maybe this might be the one that I've rewatched the most times because this movie just has something that brings me back. Um, I think I've talked on this about a. God, I can't talk. I think I've talked about this in a previous video. There we go, spitting bars now. Um, but I really like movies that, they're a regular movie and stuff, but there's like a sadness at their core, like in their heart, so to speak. And this movie, with Rick Dalton kind of being a fading star and things like that, it's got a real like sadness to it. And it's very subtle. It's not like, oh, boo hoo, feel bad for him, but like the plot's going, but like, I don't know. If you kind of sympathize with him, like it's kind of a fucking sad movie, and it's like a breakup movie in a way, but it's like not a love story. I don't know. Weird. If you've seen it, it's really really good. It's probably Quentin Tarantino's most like mature movie. It doesn't really go full Tarantino until the last act, but it's well worth the wait. I think the characters are some of his best ever characters. I think the story that unfolds and the way he tells it is some of his best filmmaking, and not to mention just like the way this movie immerses you in 1960s Hollywood is unlike any movie I've ever seen before. Like Paul Thomas Anderson's Licorice Pizza, it kind of, does a great job. That's kind of weird. It kind of does a great job. But, it does a pretty good job too. But, like, I don't know. This movie just really makes me feel like I'm back in the 1960s. And I never experienced the 60s, but this movie makes me feel like I did. Um, so, Pulp Fiction, number 2. Now, a lot of people, this is their number 1. This used to be my number 1. This was for the longest time my number 1. It's Pulp Fiction. You don't really have to say much about this movie. It speaks for itself. It's probably one of the best movies ever made, if not the best movie ever made. But it's Pulp Fiction. It's the best. But that being said, there is one that I like just a little bit better. And if you know, you know. I do like Inglorious Bastards better than Pulp Fiction, but it's only by a slim margin, right? Like Pulp Fiction, that's one of the best movies ever made. Objective, like that movie, it's fact. That's the best movie ever made is Pulp Fiction. But this is more opinion. I wouldn't say that it's a fact that Inglorious Bastards is the best movie ever made. I would say it's probably my opinion that Inglorious Bastards is the best movie ever made. I love the World War II setting, and that's weird for me because I don't really usually care about like war movies or World War II or anything like that. But I love the way Quentin Tarantino puts me in the world of World War II. I love the characters. Brad Pitt as Aldo Rain, Christoph Waltz as the Jew hunter, Eli Roth as the Bear Jew. Oh my god, this movie is just great. Just fucking up Nazis. Like, is there anything better than that? I don't think so. But yeah, this movie's got it all. It's got some of the best dialogue scenes I've ever seen. It's got stretches of 20, 30 minutes of just people talking. And it's so riveting. And then this movie is like the epitome of why we watch Quentin Tarantino movies. You just watch people sit there and talk forever, endlessly. And it's as entertaining as when it finally blows up and they're all killing each other. Like, it's entertaining on both fronts. Like, you're just as entertained by the dialogue as you are by the people getting fucked up, This is Tarantino primo. That's how they say good Tarantino in Italian. But so yeah, that's my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. What are your guys' favorite Quentin Tarantino movies? I feel like I stumbled on a lot of words in this video. I guess I'm just like still trying to find the words for how much I love my boy Quentin. So yeah, that's the video for today. Excuse my sloppy filmmaking. My hand is a tripod, and I mean I could put my phone on a tripod, but that requires effort. I don't really have that, so all right guys, have a good night, party on Wayne, kiss kiss, love you guys so much.